Have you ever wondered why, even after your heart has been bruised by their withdrawals, you still can't stop thinking about them? I'm Jim, and today we're diving into the strange emotional addiction that keeps you trapped in a push-pull dance with an avoidant partner. In this video, you'll discover why those rare moments when they unexpectedly reach out or show care create a psychological high more powerful than anything else. From the mechanics of intermittent reinforcement to a slot machine to the unresolved wounds of childhood attachment, every factor converges to make your obsession pull you back for more. We'll break down why emotional uncertainty triggers dopamine, driving you to chase an endless hope, how childhood attachment injuries create a deep-seated belief that persistence equals eventual happiness, proven tactics to shatter the painful cycle, from implementing a no-contact strategy to cultivating self-worth from within. Don't stray from the screen until the end, because I'll be sharing hands-on exercises and a concrete framework that not only helps you recognize the obsession, but empowers you to heal and truly move forward. If you're ready to break free from emotional chains and embrace healthier relationships, hit subscribe and ring the notification bell right now. Every step you take is the first victory on your journey to reclaiming freedom in love. Have you ever felt that surge of emotion when they suddenly send you a message, a hurried, "I miss you," or even just a belated like on your status, only for them to vanish moments later, leaving you in a chasm of doubt and loneliness? This is the cruel essence of the intermittent reinforcement trap, where the unpredictability of affection warmth, one moment, coldness, the next creates an obsessive loop that pulls you back again and again. The avoidant partner doesn't always withdraw. Instead, they occasionally reveal flickers of love, brief acts of care designed to ignite hope that this time, things will be different. Each gesture delivers a potent dopamine hit to your brain. You believe you are genuinely loved, and that rush of euphoria momentarily soothes your deepest fears. But that signal of positivity is fleeting, quickly replaced by despair and a nagging urge. Do they care about me? What did I do wrong? If I act better next time, will they stay? This mechanism is no different from gambling addiction or substance cravings. Every time you bet your emotions, your brain craves the uncertainty because it promises an unpredictable high. A few seconds of heartfelt warmth, no matter how rare, suddenly feels more valuable than all the stability a securely attached partner could offer. And each absence, each prolonged silence, is like another round in the casino, leaving you more desperate for the next hit. What's terrifying is that you don't even realize you're trapped in a psychological game where the only rule is, be patient, don't give up. But how long is forever? No one knows, because the avoidant always holds the power to appear or disappear, keeping you as the blind player in an emotional gamble. They don't have to promise, they don't have to explain, they simply have to occasionally toss you a sign of life to keep you waiting. That uncertainty triggers the brain's fight or flight system, keeping you alternately tense and relaxed like a wild animal on high alert at every rustle, then plunged into pleasure at the sight of prey. Over time, you become dependent on those fleeting moments, willing to sacrifice your need for safety, stability, and respect in exchange for brief but intense seconds. And so, even though your rational mind knows the inconsistency and pain they bring, your emotions scream otherwise, refusing to let you walk away. Recognizing the intermittent reinforcement trap is your first step toward liberation. Understanding that each time they reappear, it's not proof of love, but a calculated lure to keep you hooked. That your relapse into longing isn't a sign of weakness, but a survival mechanism that once protected you through countless hurts. Once you see this, you can learn to silence the addiction by not replying, by not waiting, by refusing to let yourself go hungry for validation. And it is in that resolute silence that you reclaim true power. The power to decide who deserves to stay in your life, rather than being held captive by someone who keeps you on an emotional roller coaster of intermittent highs and lows. After uncovering the psychological trap of intermittent reinforcement, where fleeting acts of care become addictive stimuli that leave you longing in despair, we must delve deeper into the root of this obsession, the unhealed attachment wound. Since childhood, when affection was inconsistently dispensed, you learned to earn love through behavior meeting every standard, suppressing your own feelings, even sacrificing yourself for scraps of attention. And as these emotional shortages repeated, you internalize the belief that only relentless persistence and effort could make you worthy of love. That belief turns the avoidant partner into what seems like your last chance for healing. If you wait patiently today, they'll open up tomorrow. If you show enough understanding and sacrifice, they will transform into the partner you've always dreamed of offering enduring love. Unconsciously, you project every unmet expectation from your first relationships onto this person, trying to piece together your painful past with the hope that this time it will be different. Yet in doing so, you overlay the ghost of your childhood self and ever, longing Childanto your adult partner, perpetuating the cycle of hurt. Each effort to elicit a moment of care only reactivates old wounds, as their inconsistency and withdrawal mirror the abandonment you once endured. To rise above, you must acknowledge that your obsession stems not from their worth, but from your unmet needs of the past. Only then can you begin to heal and separate the image of the avoidant partner from the fractured parts of your own history. After identifying the unhealed attachment wound where you unconsciously earn affection through tiny gestures and project onto the avoidant all the unmet hopes from your first relationships, we find ourselves lost in another maze. The allure of the transformation fantasy. It is the powerful belief that your love, patience, and understanding will ultimately spellbind the avoidant into becoming the perfect partner that sows hope, ensuring you never let go. You envision them shedding their defensive armor, sharing every hidden wound, and building a lasting, fulfilling relationship with you. The moment they show even a flicker of emotion, you seize it as the spark of their transformation, convinced that your perseverance, compassion, and empathy will work that magic. This formula is only amplified by popular culture. Films, novels, and songs praise love conquers all, where the protagonist wins over the aloof character through relentless devotion and sacrifice. From Cinderella to Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice, countless stories fuel your conviction that if you try hard enough, you will triumph even when the other party shows no willingness. These messages act as fuel, emboldening your transformation fantasy, blurring the lines between loving persistence and power to change. Yet reality is far less rosy than fiction. Your patience often proves powerless against their ingrained avoidance, and the longer you wait, the deeper you sink into a cycle of repeated hurt. Your self-sacrifice and devotion become proof of the power of love, but they fail to unlock any change. The avoidant partner needs no transformation. They simply hold fast to their long-standing self-protective mechanisms. To break free from this allure, the first step is recognizing that it is not your love that will change them, but you who must change how you view your own worth. True magic doesn't come from rescuing another, but from rescuing yourself, letting go of the transformation script, and opening yourself to relationships built on mutual growth and genuine appreciation. Once you've identified the transformation fantasy, belief that your love and patience could magically turn an avoidant into the perfect partner, we move into the next treacherous phase of the attachment cycle: validation addiction. In a relationship with an avoidant, every rare gesture of Korea, spontaneous compliment, a fleeting hug, or even a timely text reply becomes a short-lived fix, stimulating your brain's reward center. You begin to depend on these moments like an addict seeking their next dose to stay sober. Each time they show attention, you feel valuable, worthy of love, and in that instant, your self-esteem soars. However, the scarcity of these doses is precisely what drags you deeper into the addiction. You overlook countless instances of being ignored, believing that if you try harder, the next hit will be potent enough to heal every wound. You convince yourself that those rare positive flashes reveal the relationship's true potential, while in reality, you spend the majority of your time abandoned in silence. As a result, your self-worth becomes tethered to your partner's actions instead of being nurtured from within. You lose touch with the idea that a sense of security must originate from yourself, continually trading your personal value for the scraps of attention they dole out. Recognizing validation addiction is your first step toward escaping this emotional trap, learning to generate and honor your intrinsic worth, refusing to let anyone else dictate how worthy you are. After recognizing your validation addiction, losing touch with your intrinsic worth, and constantly chasing rare moments of attention, the journey into this toxic relationship takes us to a deeper, more perilous phase: bonding with suffering, known scientifically as a trauma bond. Trauma bonds form when profound hurt interlaces with fleeting moments of pampering and care, creating a biochemical chain that's hard to break. Each time you're abandoned in silence, only to be soothed moments later by an earnest apology or an unexpected gesture of affection, your brain releases both oxytocin and cortisol, odd cocktail of pain and comfort producing an intense attachment even amid the dysfunction. You begin to equate pain with deep love. Every wound becomes proof of authenticity, a sign that only hardships prove true love. Simultaneously, you feel struggle is laden with meaning. The fights, the cold shoulders, and the contrition fuse into a unique bond, seen as a rite of passage in love. This invisible thread holds you fast, convincing you that leaving means abandoning the only relationship that ever made you feel alive. In truth, a trauma bond is a psychological defense. Your mind craves attachment, and unconsciously, it clings to both the pain and the comfort, as inseparable halves of a coin, fearing that only this blend can sustain your bond. To break free from a trauma bond, you must shatter the false belief that greater suffering equals deeper love. Instead, remember that genuine love is built on safety, respect, and consistent care, not an endless cycle of hurt followed by consolation. As you learn to recognize and detach from this dysfunctional attachment pattern, you'll reclaim the freedom to foster healthy connections where both partners give and receive love without trading it for pain. Having identified the painful mechanisms that forge a dysfunctional bond with an avoidant partner, from intermittent reinforcement to unhealed attachment wounds, the transformation fantasy to validation addiction, and the trauma bond, it's time to delve into the mechanisms that sustain obsession. First is the fear of accepting something easy. You mistakenly believe that steady, low-drama love equals boring and lacks value. Popular culture glorifies tumultuous romances, driving you to think that only relentless struggle qualifies as true love. As a result, you dig your own grave, rejecting genuinely healthy connections because they feel simple and thus unworthy of your emotional investment. Next is the sunk cost fallacy. The more time, effort, and even belief you pour into the avoidant partner, the more you dread letting go, fearing all that investment would be wasted. You rationalize, just a little more persistence. If I don't give up today, maybe tomorrow will be different. A mindset that justifies clinging to a relationship that clearly harms you. Lastly, there's identity investment. You see yourself as the persistent lover, the rescuer who can save the relationship. This self-concept, tied to sacrifice and endurance, makes the idea of letting go feel like losing yourself. You believe that without proving your persistence, you would no longer be you. These mechanisms, the fear of easy love, the sunk cost fallacy, and identity investment, combine into a solid launchpad for obsession. Only by fully recognizing them can you begin to challenge, dismantle, and rebuild your view of love and self-worth. We've unraveled the spectrum of mechanisms, from the intermittent reinforcement trap to unhealed attachment wounds, the transformation fantasy, validation addiction, trauma bonds, and finally the thought patterns that keep you trapped in obsession. Recognizing these is the key to breaking the self-harming cycle, nurturing your intrinsic worth, and seeking genuinely safe, mutually respectful connections. Remember, true love doesn't demand an endless struggle nor self-sacrifice in exchange for scraps of affection. When you dare to let go, you open the door to authentic happiness and freedom. Thank you for watching until the end. All quotes and analyses here adhere to fair use for educational and inspirational purposes. If you found these insights valuable, please subscribe and click the notification bell so you won't miss what's coming next. Share your thoughts below. Every experience strengthens our community.